let's start with the, I guess, story of the day. If you go on Twitter, again, Lana and I refuse to call it X. We're calling it Twitter.
I can't do X. Sorry, guys.
If you go on Twitter, you would, for some reason, see that a lot of people were not stunned, but once Donald Trump had won Iowa in the primaries, they're on there. What's wrong with you people in Iowa? It's like, well, I don't understand why this was a surprise.
Who's gonna win? Is the Republicans? It wasn't.
I don't know, Lana, but
eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Which fascist was you gonna vote for? Like,
correct. So we're gonna go over yesterday's Donald Trump victory and some of the participants in there. But former President Donald Trump scored a record-setting win in the Iowa caucuses on Monday, with his rivals languishing far behind a victory that affirmed his grip on the 2024 Republican presidential nomination. Certainly no surprise. Mm-hmm. It was the lowest turnout caucus in a quarter century. Participants endured life-threatening, cold, and dangerous driving conditions to meet in hundreds of schools, churches, and community centers across the state. But those who ventured out delivered a roughly 30-point win for Trump that smashed the record for a contested Iowa Republican caucus, with a margin victory exceeding Bob Dole's 13% point victory in 1988. So there's a couple of important points here. One, it was an extremely low turnout. In fact, it was only 14% of Republicans who came out to vote. Now, of course, as it was stated, a lot of that had to do, I'm sure, with the weather. And maybe the other part of it was too, is like, the weather's really bad. Trump's got this locked up. What's the point?
Right.
So, I think a lot of that plays into it. None of this is a surprise. None of it should come as a surprise to anybody out there. I think maybe people are still upset that a guy with 91 felony counts, a guy that was found guilty in a court of law of sexual assault, easily and so heavily won the Republican nomination. But again, I here in Florida, I was prepared for it. I'm sure up there in Massachusetts, you were prepared for it as well.
Right. Let's dig into the numbers, because I do some research, sort of.
I'm telling you this.
So registered voters in Iowa, 2,083,000.
Mm-hmm.
Registered Republicans, 718,000.
Yes.
People that voted, 102,000. People who voted for Trump, 53,219.
Yep.
That's not a great showing.
No.
It's not.
It's not. And you know what else really was irritating is that the news coverage of it and everybody else going nuts over it, they asked questions. They always ask questions when they come out of the voting.
Right.
And one of the questions was, do you think Donald Trump was or Joe Biden won the election in 2020 fairly? And a large number of them said no. Now, at this point, again, why are we surprised by this?
Right.
Like, we already know this. This is not
if they're voting for
anymore.
Trump, that they absolutely think Trump is still the, like, which is funny because they keep saying that Trump is the president, but you're voting in a primary. So that's a little confusing. But
you're exactly right. Most of these, if I don't know how the primaries work up in Iowa, I don't know if it's open to all parties. Or if it's just open to Republicans, because in Florida, you have to be registered with a party to vote in the primary. So in other words, I can't vote in the Republican primary.
I think Iowa is the same, but I believe New Hampshire is free for all. Like
yeah. So, but the fact is, if that is the case in Iowa, then of course the Republicans are going to come out and say, and I can't imagine any Democrats, even if it was open, going to the Iowa caucuses and voting for anybody other, than Donald Trump, whatever it is. Right. So I think take it with a grain of salt. Don't get offended. Don't get bothered by it. This is stuff that we've known already for years.
Right. It's baked in.
It's baked in. That's exactly right. So, speaking of the Iowa caucuses, you talk about something so antiquated and so so
Let me get my paper bag.
Oh, what do you mean your paper bag?
Oh,
You're
is that
gonna
what
throw
you?
up?
Oh, because that was no, that was it. That's what I thought when you said antiquated. Because that's what I saw people putting stuff in paper bag. Like,
I don't know. How did I not put that together? What the clip I'm getting ready to play? How did I not? Oh my God, Lana, is it time to cut us off now?
I
Is the show
know.
over?
I'm just proud of myself that I halfway paid attention to the news, but I did pay attention. I got enough of it to get all of this.
Well, I'm always proud of you, but let's take a look at a clip of the way they vote in these Iowa caucuses, that if this happened in the national election and Joe Biden happened to win that state, imagine what the Fox News, Newsmax, the Mark Levins, and all these other fucking nutbags would do if they saw this.
In half, and we will come and collect them.
This is how you vote for your high school president. Actually, the high school president is a little bit more sophisticated than this.
That is wild.
Yeah.
Is that how they do it all caucuses, or is it just Iowa?
I think now, I don't know if it's all caucuses in Iowa. I don't know if it's because I think Donald Trump, what did he win? 98 out of 99 counties. So I don't know if every county does it that way, or every precinct, or whatever they call it there. But they take a piece of paper and they put it in a paper bag, not even like a secure box, not even they put it in a paper bag.
Two pieces of paper could stick together. Like, it's just insane.
That's how you vote. Like, maybe that's like an app.
Handwrite it, so you have to read it.
I would imagine being in an Iowa county fair and then voting on best pig. That's basically how they would do it in an Iowa county fair.
Crazy. Iowa should not even. That shouldn't even be a big state. Like, no. News is reporting on that, and they put things in the magic trick.
Lana, this is why, I ask you to do a show with me, and I rely on you to make sense of any of the stuff that makes no sense. But I will admit it is a very, very, very tall task.